Hello everybody, I'm Scott Spinola, Editor-in-Chief at 21ct.com, and we're here today to do our year-end wrap-up and a look at 2014, the biggest security stories of the year and what to look forward for next year. I have with me Tim Ray and James Lawler, security analysts here at 21ct, and they're going to give us our thoughts. So let's get right into it. 2013. Give me some big stories that happened in 2013 that impacted network security. Tim?
I'd have to say Snowden.
Snowden.
The Snowden leakage and subsequent publication of numerous documents from the American intelligence community and from overseas was probably one of the biggest things to hit us. And because they're continuing to be published in sort of batches with a very deliberate, almost a scheduled approach, we're going to continue to see that through 2014.
So what kind of material impact do you think that had on network security in organizations and especially government agencies?
Certainly there's a large impact to crypto. One of the things that Snowden released relatively recently is the fact that a lot of crypto was compromised before it ever really got off the ground because of fixes that were put in place by the intelligence community. And that has a profound effect. In fact, just recently, I think it was FreeBSD just published that they're no longer going to trust Intel's on-chip random number generator, that they're actually going to run, so Intel and VIA chips, they're going to run those random numbers through another random number generator called Yarrow to introduce more entropy because they don't trust the stuff that's actually cast into the chip. Think about that for a second. I mean, that's profound. If that's not a profound effect, I don't know what it is. But the most important effect was the beginning of the dialogue about security. This raised, we've asked for years in security, I know you've done this, we've asked for years for security to become everybody's issue, for everybody to take notice of it, for everybody to become aware of it. And you have to be careful what you wish for, because Edward Snowden made us all understand what metadata was. He made us all understand that a lot of the stuff you say online can be monitored and is being monitored. And that has a huge effect just on the sort of zeitgeist of security in the public. And so I think that's going to be the one that we feel as it reverberates.
So it's hard to say that anything good would come of something like that. I mean, other than the national security implications of releasing sensitive data, but what are the positive outcomes that could come with increased awareness, like you said? Could that end up being, organizations are more secure because of having to deal with what he did?
Well, I should speak to the first sort of tacit point before I say anything else. First of all, the guy broke a lot of promises, to do what he did. I'm not holding out this man as a hero.
Sure.
I am saying that ultimately the discussion and the elevation of security into the public consciousness is going to have a beneficial effect eventually.
So we can learn from what he did and how he was allowed to do it.
We can learn.
And make ourselves safer in the long run.
We can, and also we can learn to, that privacy on the network, on the internet, is quite illusory. We need to figure out ways to deal with that as a society, and I think Snowden...
It's almost non-existent. I mean, implicitly, you're putting stuff out there.
Yeah, I don't know how much news that actually is, but yeah, there's very little that you can do to hide.
It's made us all think about what is security and how do we look at security for our borders and security from terrorists and security from anything beyond just for our own personal data, but also what about our own security? What we have created NSA, or well, maybe not us, maybe it was the government doing certain things too, but we've done that. We've done that to ourselves. We want to be more secure. We want us to be in a safe, happy place. And whether or not NSA is doing things that are highly controversial or not, I'm not going to say anything to that, but I will say that they're just trying to do their job. And they're doing it by any means necessary. Would I want to have full situational awareness of my network at any given time? Or what I'm supposed to be responsible for as far as I'm supposed to secure this piece of something?
Right.
What do I need to do that? Well, I got to have full situational awareness.
Right.
What did NSA require of everyone? Well, they needed full situational awareness of even encrypted data to know truly what's going on. And that's it's a double-edged sword we all have to face. You know, the little between privacy and security. Where do we stand? Where can we sit? And where's the happy medium? Because I guarantee where we say privacy is, that's where the bad guy's going to be at.
Sure.
You know, where we say, hey, you know, I don't know. It's just, it's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, and I couldn't say I would do any different.
So here's a question for you. I've got a question.
Sure.
So one of the things that a lot of the Snowden revelations have prompted is a move towards encryption of almost everything. In other words, there's a lot of people that a lot of security experts are advocating that we just encrypt most everything, and we use either SSL or, you know, every website communication becomes encrypted. That has deep implications for security at the corporate level, certainly.
In what way?
Well, so that's sort of my question is how do you guys see that affecting our ability to monitor? Because we
Monitor employee data.
We want to monitor, yeah, I mean, we want to monitor what goes on our own.
Like the NSA, we want your keys.
Everything is encrypted. And see that's where, and I think you hit it on the head. If that occurs, then what happens is, if you want to do edge security and you don't believe the perimeter is completely dead, and we all still have firewalls, so tacitly at least some of us believe it's not dead, you're going to have to monitor those transmissions by man-in-the-middling your own people. You're going to have to own all the certificates and then decrypt the stuff at some point to understand what the content of it is. I mean, it has implications for data loss prevention. How do you know if the data is leaving your network? Sure. So that's that knee-jerk reaction to just encrypt. Let's just encrypt everything. May not be the way to go, because ultimately the response has to be, well, we're going to create this big proxy, and everything you do has to go through that. So that's kind of we need to think very carefully how we respond, I think, and that without, you know, if we just take the easy solution, which is to encrypt, many more implications.
So it would make security networks more difficult, you're saying, or?
Your awareness of what's actually happening on your network would be tremendously decreased, because you won't be able to. You'll see destinations and sources and amount of data. You just won't see what data was actually passed, and so therefore you can't tell if the gems or the jewels of your network are actually being exfilled out of your network or not. And so without knowing those things, it's going to be harder for security administrators to really know what's happening or what's going in and out of this boundary thing.
It'd be like operating with only metadata. Right. So
yeah.
So a packet capture wouldn't do you any good, because it would be all encrypted, so you'd see nothing but ciphertext, so you would know, you know, who was talking to whom, how often, how much, and sort of when, but which is NetFlow essentially.
And it's truly not even that actionable. I mean,
right. Yes. So that's
you have to pair it with so much other data to make any of that information worth anything. It's like, well, I know that happened, but I don't really know what it was. I mean, you can always look up the destination IP address and find out, hey, is he on a blacklist? Or, hey, what other kind of suspicious activity, if any, has this guy done, or is this just a bank?
Right.
And so, or whatever other kind of external site, or, you know, I don't know. So, that's kind of, that's a good point you bring up there, because that is tough, and there's, dang it, that middle ground. Where is it? And, do we really want to do an SSL proxy and man in the middle our own people?
Oh, yeah.
And then how much do we really man in the middle? Because I don't really want to see their banking information. I don't really want to see those type of things, but I do, you know, it's tough. Yeah. It's a tough battle.
Like you said before, it's a balancing act. You have to balance people's privacy and convenience with security, because if it was completely secure, nobody could use it. If it was completely convenient and private, it wouldn't do anything.
Yeah. Balancing act, such is life.
Yeah. So